Hello, my beautiful baddies. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan James. I'm a mindset coach that loves to focus on relationships. Before we get into today's video, happy Valentine's Day, wherever you are in the world. And on top of that, remember that life is not happening to you, but happening through you. When you become the change you seek to experience, you're going to experience that change everywhere you go, and you are showing the world how to treat you based off of the identity you're in, the thoughts you're forming, the perceptions you're holding, the behaviors you're materializing, how you're persisting, and the example that you set in life. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to persist and really organize yourself in an efficient way when you're facing undesirable circumstances. And again, I know today is Valentine's Day. If you are spending the day with your significant other, I hope you're having a beautiful time. If you are unfortunately not, then today's video may be relevant for you. And before we even get into the topic, I know I talked in my previous live stream that is titled Know What You Want. It's a really good live stream. I recommend go watching it. In that live stream, I was talking about how on Valentine's Day, we need to have a balanced approach to this. So when you are facing undesirable circumstances, not having a person there obviously is going to impact you, especially if that is something for relationship, specific relationship or non-specific relationship is something you want and you value. Not having that human connection there is obvious. And when it comes to mindset, we want to operate above what's going on in front of us to create changes, but at the same time, we don't want to suppress our emotions, gaslight ourselves, or avoid anything. So I think there's a balanced approach to this, which is if you're sad, if you're yearning for somebody, if it feels like another Valentine's Day and you don't have the relationship that you desire, the first thing I want you to do is give yourself the permission to be sad about that, guilt-free. And this is a part of being emotionally available with yourself, not fearing your emotions, not distracting yourself away from them. I always find in my personal approach that music is a very healing way to process emotions. So if you're feeling sad and you are trying to avoid it, I'm going to encourage you to put on a sad song, cry it out, feel sorry, feel bad. It's a beautiful thing to have human connection in your life. And having wants and desires is not something that is bad. Yes, we're getting into a mindset where we normalize having our wants and desires, but when we're taking into consideration a healthy relationship, that means we're going to have the ability to feel our emotions and process them, but not allow challenges or circumstances to define us, beat us up, beat us down, hold us back, or place limitations on us. So I want to start off with that message. If it's a tender day for you, give yourself that permission to process your emotions. Aside from that, today I'm going to be talking about how to organize yourself in an efficient way when you're dealing with undesirable circumstances. And I'm going to talk about this from a routine standpoint and how you can take actionable steps to organize yourself differently right now, tomorrow, moving forward the next couple of weeks. Persistence is what creates results. And the first thing I want to say with this really coincides with what I was just talking about. When we are dealing with undesirable circumstances, we need to create a healthy relationship with ourselves to emotionally process what's going on and not gaslight ourselves or suppress anything. But at the same time, we have to realize if I want to break free from these patterns, I need to start implementing practices, thinking in new ways, and organizing myself in new ways, and trust that as I persist with those practices, I will begin to operate above these circumstances and create new experiences for myself. And that's an intricate balance. This is a bit intuitive, and it should be because you're the one creating your life and you know what feels best for you. A huge thing I've been talking about on my channel lately is taking these topics and making them fun, integrating them into your day in a way that is enjoyable. That comes down to meditations, affirmations, nervous system regulation, the routine that you put on your day. But I'm going to use myself as an example, as somebody that has personally gone through a lot of circumstances and been able to really turn things around in a highly desirable way. So we're going to start off with the key elements here, which is nervous system regulation, beliefs, and our daily structure. When I say nervous system regulation, I'm not just throwing around a buzzword. And especially if you've taken any of my courses or even on my channel, I have a whole playlist for the importance of nervous system regulation. It's not just a buzzword. It's not just something that people are saying out of nowhere. There is a point behind it, and it's really taking into consideration what your body has normalized, the feeling state you're dominantly in, and when we are going into new experiences, it's going to be very difficult to normalize or create sustainable results if we're getting triggered and our body is rejecting it. Even when we're doing belief work, because our brain can't differentiate between something that is imagined and something that we're just saying within our mind or imagining. So, from that vantage point, the first change that ever needs to occur is mentally. And if I'm trying to make these mental changes, but my body and my nervous system is already rejecting it before I even have the physical experience, that is why nervous system regulation is important because you need to, one, adopt a consistent practice that help your nervous system regulate. I think just in general, that's a healthy thing to do. But two, you need to show your body through consistent relaxing activities that it is safe to think, feel, and behave in new ways. They go hand in hand. And nervous system regulation is not something that is that difficult to understand or a pie in the sky or something that you're trying to reach that is invisible. These are very simple practices that you add into your day that compound over time. Same thing with belief work. Meditations, nightly recordings, if you're working with a therapist, doing hypnotherapy, whatever it may be, you have to understand that, again, your body and your mind is keeping score. These things compound over time. So you have to create that space for growth. And when you really efficiently do this, you can grow a lot in a very quick amount of time. I just posted a success story on my community tab from a client that did the monthly coaching with me. And they even said being put on this structure fast tracked the growth and evolution that I've experienced, what would have taken years in 2 weeks. So the routine that I'm about to describe here, again, is not something that really is going to take months, years of healing work, okay, and discipline to create change, but it is going to take deliberate deliberation. It's going to take deliberation, being aware, being consistent, and it is going to take discipline. But the changes don't have to take forever, is essentially what I'm pointing towards. So, nervous system regulation, again, is looking at activities that you can do consistently that help your body manually relax and regulate itself. There are tons of different ways to do this. There's breath work, EFT tapping, exercise is a really efficient way to do nervous system regulation, cold, hot therapy. You can even go in with a practitioner to help you with this, a psychosomatic therapist. So there's so many different ways to regulate your nervous system. But I do want to say this, even when you're working with a professional, you want to hold yourself accountable and do nervous system regulation on your own because you're the one creating your life. So there has to be that accountability component where you consistently apply yourself as well too. It's kind of like the saying, like nobody outside of you can save you. You have to be the one willing and genuinely willing, bold and audacious with your application because you recognize if you want to create changes within your life, you have to be deliberate and diligent with yourself. You deserve that attention. That's the example that I want to set in my reality, the type of relationships I want to create with people that are diligent and pay attention to detail and consistent. I want to be that person with myself first. So, again, even with nervous system regulation, if you're getting additional help, just recognize that you want to be consistent with those practices too. And generally, what this looks like at first, when you do breath work, you get relief from it, but you have to persist. And through the persisting over multiple days, it compounds, especially if you can be consistent with this for a minimum of 3 weeks. By the third week, you are going to notice a considerable difference within yourself. But at the beginning, you may get some relief and then still find yourself struggling, triggered, having intrusive thoughts, feeling uncomfortable within your body. And this is where you have to create that space for growth and just be consistent with what you're doing so that it can compound and the change can really sink in. Imagine it like a plant. So you are here, we're taking all the components for how to grow in a new way, which in my opinion is going to be nervous system regulation, the belief work, and the routine that you put to your day. And each day you're going to show up, make sure the soil is good, make sure you're watering it, making sure it's getting sunlight. We don't get upset if the plant takes a little bit of time to absorb the nutrients and grow. We just know if we stay consistent, we're going to see results. So look at yourself like that. And really, what we're doing here is we're placing you into a new internal environment and structuring your external environment in a way that nurtures that growth. But you have to be that person, right? You have to be that person that shows up and waters and puts a plant outside for some sunlight. Okay. That's why routine is important. We'll get into that in a second. So, again, when we're looking at dealing with undesirable circumstances, we want to emotionally process what's going on in front of us, but at the same time realize if I continue to focus on these things, accept this as a truth, stay in a defeated state, I'm never going to elevate above it. So, yes, this can be something that is undesirable, and I can honor that. I can honor those emotions. I can see that. And yes, I'm going to do that. But then I'm also going to realize I have a choice with how I'm spending my time now and how do I want to design a day so that I can grow and elevate and operate above this. That's where nervous system regulation is really important. Nervous system regulation, just in and of itself, is going to make handling undesirable circumstances so much easier because your body's natural way of responding is going to be grounded and stable. So things aren't going to feel as turbulent. So please, please, please listen to me when I talk about nervous system regulation. And again, I'm going to talk about a routine and how to put this into your day, but I want to go over the elements. So that's nervous system regulation. The second thing is belief work and affirmations. Or again, if you want to work with an additional practitioner, a coach, a therapist, whoever you feel most comfortable with, that is, I would say, make sure you do your due diligence and research, right? But the importance of belief work is so that you can mentally identify in new ways. And that is what allows for you to create new experiences and operate above whatever is going on. So think about it like this. In one belief system, I'm oriented towards circumstances, I'm looking at them, they're triggering me, and they're reaffirming to me that I can never create a change. This is always going to be my experience, which my heart goes out to if you're going through that. It is really not a fun place to be. But then you change your orientation. So the same circumstances are in front of me, but my orientation is I don't identify with this. I actually don't have to entertain this. I can respond to this in a regulated way. I can have an amazing day and I can put myself out there, be open to new things, and elevate above what is going on. So just think about that right there. In one identity, I'm completely defeated, frozen, stuck, looking at circumstances, and each day not making any positive progression within my life. Therefore, I keep re-experiencing the same things. And then I have that layer of whatever belief system I'm in, I'm actually being drawn towards those experiences too to continue to reaffirm what I believe. That is a very vicious cycle versus changing the orientation. Okay, I see what's going on. I don't like it. I'm processing my emotions, but I have a daily routine. I'm regulating myself. I'm adopting beliefs. I'm growing. I'm evolving. I'm positively progressing in my life. I'm opening up to new experiences. I'm no longer focusing heavily on what's in front of me and using that as evidence to reaffirm why I can't create change within my life. I'm going to be able to break free from this cycle. And so that is the importance of belief work is really allowing you to orient yourself in a new way, show up in a new way, assume a new version of you that in turn changes the dynamics and the experiences in your life. You're the one creating your life. So whatever you assume, whatever version of yourself that you assume, whatever identity you're in, whatever beliefs you genuinely hold are going to continue to create your experiences. And when it comes to belief work, I've been seeing people post questions on my channel what do I do if I don't believe? What if I really struggle to know that I am worthy of the things that I want? At the beginning, when you're doing belief work, it is 1000% normal to not believe it. It is 1000% normal for it to feel off, uncomfortable, and untrue. But again, like I said, this is where persistence is really important, and designing a day that you enjoy and making these activities fun and enjoyable makes a world of difference. And it's a compounding effect. So the more you're consistent with the nervous system regulation, the daily meditations, and designing a new day and really holding yourself accountable, the more your mind's going to accept the beliefs. You're going to hear the statements and be like, yeah, you know what, that actually is true. I could see that for myself. Then you're going to notice you're showing up differently, you're behaving differently, you're taking better care of yourself. Everything in your reality starts reaffirming this new identity, and you naturally transition into identifying with those statements and creating new experiences for yourself. And again, this can happen very quickly if you are deliberate, aware of what you're doing, and consistent with that application. Let's talk about routine, okay? For myself, I'm going to describe what I personally coach people to do and what I have done myself. I don't play around. So I don't mind discipline. I don't mind structure. And in fact, I would rather be disciplined and structured and maybe like in some moments be unmotivated to do it, but force myself to do it because I'm willing to make those temporary sacrifices of discomfort for the overall goal of what I want to achieve. So I'm pretty disciplined with these things because especially over the amount of years that I've done mindset and so many people that I've coached, like I've been saying, the change doesn't take long, it takes consistency. So why not create the most stable internal and external environment that you can for yourself to go through this change in an enjoyable way rather than it being drawn out long and unnecessary in that regard. So for the routine, what that really looks like on a 7 day schedule is each day you have a practice in the morning, the midday, and nighttime. That practice is for nervous system regulation and a daily meditation that addresses whatever current intrusive thoughts and behaviors you're struggling with right now. And that's personal to you, right? So that's where you do want to discern and keep track of the thoughts that you're having to see what beliefs do I need to do in a daily meditation so that I can break these focuses and and stay consistent with that meditation until I see these things no longer intimidate me, trigger me, or put me in a defeated state. I no longer identify with these experiences. So you want to have a routine, morning, midday, and nighttime, where you're doing nervous system regulation and meditation. Nervous system regulation typically takes about 10 minutes. Meditation can take about 10 minutes. And that's 3 times in the day because you want to reintroduce to your body throughout the day this regulated state and this new way of identifying. Again, with persistence, you will find that during the day, the quality of your thoughts, your behaviors, how safe and comfortable you feel within your body compounds. So don't expect this to be within the first day. I mean, the first day you may feel really good, right? When we first start something, it can be exciting, okay? But there's going to be a level of persistence. There's going to be, in my opinion, uncomfortable moments, and you're going to have to sit down with yourself and say, okay, look, I already know what the circumstances are. I don't like this. Let me process my emotions, but when I'm done, let me pick myself up and put myself on this routine. So that's the skeleton of the structure. The other component to this that you want to look at is how you can make this fun. So if you want to add in subliminals during the day, if you want to play affirmations during the day because you enjoy it and it helps you feel good in your body, amazing. I would also recommend adding in exercise at least 3 to 4 times a week, putting a focus on keeping your environment clean, diversifying your social life. So actually allowing yourself to go out and meet new people, hang out with friends, get off of watching content all day long or engaging in content where you have an extremely large screen time. Essentially, what I'm saying here is create a daily routine where the time that you use builds you up. Activities that build up your self esteem, that build up your confidence, and help you feel good in your body and expose you to new experiences. I know that sounds fairly simple, but it doesn't have to be something extremely dramatic or large to create change within your life. It's usually small, deliberate, new choices we make each day in our organization and what we're doing and introducing to our body. Compounded over time with consistency, that creates massive results. So, the skeleton of this is let me regulate myself and adopt a new mindset, and then let me fill my day with activities that are fun from a mindset perspective, but also feed my body, have me moving, really getting out there, meeting new people, exercising, building my confidence. And even if you want to look at this like a skill, okay, like if I want to really diversify my time, I've personally in the past really enjoyed painting, finding ways to express myself in a healthy manner as I am going through this journey. The last point that I'm going to make for this routine is it would be very useful to also read a book that is similar to the belief changes you're making within yourself. One book that I really love is a book called Boundaries. You can find it on YouTube for free. That is very good when you're going about this approach to really help you understand the importance of boundaries, understand normalizing your wants and needs being met, creating healthy dynamics, having healthy relationships, not over assuming blame. It really helps provide solid, concrete examples to your brain so that as you're doing the belief work, it starts picking up new evidences to support these beliefs. So, on that note, let's understand why this routine is important because you're introducing a state of regulation into your body, you're regulating yourself, and you're introducing new beliefs. So, you want to expose yourself to new experiences that help provide evidence for these beliefs to solidify into place. And if we're really looking at this from a self esteem, creating healthy relationships, um, being confident with ourselves, people liking us, and again, embracing new experiences, then we want to behaviorally align to that and use our time in a way that provides our brain with evidence to adopt those beliefs. You're not going to be perfect at this, and that's fine. It may feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, so don't put yourself into situations that are extremely uncomfortable, but challenge yourself and see, okay, I have the choice each day to sit here and look at these circumstances and feel defeated by them. And maybe I'm going to do that. Maybe I'm going to allow that and I'm going to process my emotions. But then I'm also going to design a day that helps me operate above it. And so, in this, in a very short amount of time, you can orient yourself in a new direction. Now, what does that really do when we look at circumstances and creating new results? When we orient ourselves in a new direction, when we take on a new belief system, we start thinking, feeling, behaving, and acting differently, right? We show up differently. We set a different example. We have new automatic thoughts and awarenesses. So when it comes to manifesting, what you hear and what I've talked about on my channel is you want to know something into being. You want to be in an identity. You want to assume a version of yourself that is congruent with that experience and hold a knowing. So, what I'm talking about here is the process of getting into that version of yourself that can show up and say, you know what? No, I don't accept this. I don't identify with this. This is not going to be my experience. I know that I'm going to get X, Y, and Z and you're able to mentally hold that, but then how you show up and handle reality is congruent with that as well too. You're not getting triggered all the time, you're not reacting in same patterned ways. You are growing, elevating, and evolving above everything in a way that sets an example that is not only am I knowing this into being, but I'm demanding it with how I'm showing up in my life. So, therefore, it has no choice but to manifest because I will not accept, entertain, or allow these experiences to define me anymore. So when you can really put this into practice, like I'm talking about here, when you can design that routine, have a nighttime recording going on that really reaffirms those beliefs, you wake up, you have your rituals for the day for nervous system regulation, meditation, you're eating better, you're exercising, you're embracing new social experiences, you're reading a book that reaffirms your beliefs. Now we're using our time in a constructive way. We may still have the circumstance going on, but we're going through so much evolution and change that the circumstance will naturally shift and change as you continue to grow and evolve. And there may be moments where you still have to process what's going on in front of you, and that is okay. Do not fear your emotions. Do not think, oh no, if I feel this or I think this, things are going to change. No, Be emotionally available with yourself. Create that space for growth, but be consistent with what you're doing because as long as you're consistent with it and you don't give up, you're going to see that change evolves. And so, lastly, with this, especially here today on Valentine's Day, what am I really talking about? Placing the focus here, being your own Valentine, loving yourself properly, nurturing your emotions, nurturing your body, showing up for yourself fully, regulating yourself, and building a mindset that is congruent with what you want to actually experience. You don't have to wait for a person to text you. You don't have to wait for a specific goal to materialize. You can be that person right now. You can show up in those ways right now. And I promise you, if you really genuinely apply this, you're going to see those results roll in. They have no choice because that is going to be the example you set in your life. Manifesting will become extremely easy for you. Creating results will become extremely easy for you because it's now your natural state to have those experiences. Is it going to take some persistence? Sure. Can you do that? Yes. So, I hope you took something away from today's video on how to really deal with these circumstances. What's the answer? You're not really going to deal with them. You're going to focus on you, you're going to grow, you're going to evolve, and you're going to overcome them by operating above them. The natural ideas, the solutions will come to you. You have to trust that as you make these adjustments. So that's pretty much all I had to say today. Okay. Uh, if you need any individual help with this, I would be more than happy to guide you. I have a few options for one-on-one coaching, monthly coaching. On my website, you're going to find a really amazing course called Breaking Negative Patterns that goes into the intricacies of what I was talking about today. Really, really, really in depth for nervous system regulation belief for creating a routine and persisting. I highly recommend that. And I'm not just saying this from a sales perspective. I'm saying this from if you want to fast track your understanding and get a grasp on these topics in a very easy, digestible way and put them into practice and fully understand what you're doing, that course is amazing. If you do one-on-one coaching with me, I give you that course for free just because it really creates a solid foundation. I know there's a lot of information online and sometimes it can feel overwhelming. So having something in one place in a very methodical, straightforward, and structured way is going to help. It's going to really answer any questions that you have. So that's also an option as well too. Other than that, I hope you all have a beautiful day, night time, wherever you are. And until next time, I hope you stay safe and you really show up for yourself in a way where, especially today on Valentine's Day, you show up loving yourself and setting that example of being prioritized in the way that you deserve. And you don't wait for anybody to do that. You can be that person today. And it's not always going to be your experience. You will have a happy relationship at some point, but we need to handle where we are and show up for ourselves today so that we can create that. You don't have to give up. Your life is not permanent. You can create healthy changes. Is it going to take persistence? Yes. But again, as I've said, you can do that. Alrighty. I hope you all have a good day. I'll see you later.